held today, March 5th, 2026.
One second.
I'm sorry, I thought we were losing.
No, you're good.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the meeting of the Administrative Operations Committee of the Public Building Commission of Chicago being held today, March 5th, 2026 at 1 p.m. Director Gitteroff, please call the roll.
Good afternoon to both of you, and thank you, Mr. Chairman Maldonado.
Here.
Commissioner Randall. Here. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the meeting held January 8th, 2026.
Move to approve.
Motion approved. Next item on the agenda is public participation in accordance with the Opens Meetings Act. Registered speakers will be allowed 2 minutes to provide comments.
Chairman, there's no speakers.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is report by Director of Procurement, James Portman.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioner. I have 2 reports for you today. The first you'll find at tab C1 is the monthly task orders awarded against term contract report. This month we had, since our last reporting, we had 3 task orders issued. The first was for environmental renovation and demolition services at the City Colleges of Chicago School of Nursing. That was awarded to Terracon Consultants, Inc. in the amount of $9,085.52. The next 2 were both for material testing services. The first was for the Kenwood Academy Link and Mechanical Project. That was awarded to ATC Group Services doing business as Atlas Technical in the amount of $24,735 even. And the next was for the Forest Preserve District of Cook County metal buildings at Tinley and McGinnis. That was awarded to Princeton Technical Services, Inc., a minority business enterprise firm in the amount of $42,962.50. Those are the task orders that have been awarded. Are there any questions?
What's the time frame for the moment? They're scheduled for completion this coming quarter. Awesome. Long meeting. Yeah, it's a lot of coordination and collaboration with our partners. So thank you.
With that, I'll move to my next report, which you'll find at tab C2. This is just an assignment of an existing contract. So we currently have a contract with Synapse Networks, Inc. They deal with our server migration and maintenance services. More specifically, they work on our cloud hosting application server support. They optimize, maintain, and upgrade the cloud hosting environment, and essentially assist with any technical assistance we need with user connection issues or general application functionality for the various PBC applications. The owner of Synapse Networks, Inc., Stuart Brainerd, is retiring, and he has been offered a buyout from 2 of his existing employees who are longtime employees there and intimately familiar with the PBC and our contract. And we are presenting this, or will present this to the board for approval. They agreed to the same terms as the contract. They will adopt all of the minority business enterprise and women business enterprise goal and have agreed to work towards those goals, and will provide the same level of service or exceed the level of service, all while utilizing the same personnel. So we did due diligence checks. We required a new disclosure affidavit and a new disclosure of any retained parties. Both came back clean, so we're happy to recommend this.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when a company changes ownership, do they have to sort of legally change? Do they have to change their ownership structure or whatever? Does that trigger something for us automatically, or do they have to?
It's a really very good question. All of our contracts, to ensure the public is made aware of who we are contracting with,
Right.
They include a clause that allows the owner of the company to sell the company or change the company in some way, shape, or form if it involves a sale outright, or if it involves any sort of ownership distribution change. They then need to present that to us, and our board needs to review it and approve it. So anytime that happens, we bring that forward. And the only time that it doesn't usually need board approval is if it's just a simple name change. What we do then is we still report to the board so that it's on record that there's been a name change of the company. But great question. This is an actual full acquisition and a name change both.
Okay.
So we'll go from Synapse Tech or Synapse Networks, Inc. to the new name Synapse Tech LLC. Correct.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if no other questions, that concludes both of my reports.
Move to accept the reports.
The reports are accepted. Next item on the agenda is report by Executive Director Ray Getteroff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with our field order activity report. There are two projects that exceed our reporting threshold. I will discuss them briefly with you right now. The first is with one of our partners, CDOT, the WPA reconstruction project for West 106th Street. That's part of a four package project. The other three locations were completed by the contractor. This last location for Western 106th, estimated value of $54,795, specifically has to do with the revision to the handling and disposal of the on-site soil material, specifically the clean construction demolition debris material compared to its disposal at a subtitle D landfill, based on revised environmental reports that were provided to us by our client's environmental consultant. We have full concurrence from CDOT. The field order has been issued. The other projects achieved substantial completion last November. This one project, because of this one issue, that SC is projected for the second quarter of this year. We do have correspondence from the contractor in writing that they've committed to maintain their bid amount. So they are a good partner, as our partners at CDOT. So we're confident that this work is proceeding as directed here in the field order. The second field order has to do with the Forest Preserve District of Cook County. This is for the restroom rehabilitation that's district-wide, 14 total locations between Bussey and Dan Ryan. This field order impacts the Bussey Woods facilities. The estimated value is $73,810.68. We do have concurrence from our partners at Forest Preserve District to issue this field order, and basically what this has to do with removing and replacing an existing control panel that controls those grinder pumps that are at these locations. And as you probably might know, that helps monitor the sewage and waste in order to properly operate the system. So the existing control panel was discovered to be non-compatible with the new system, so that's being swapped out. We do have concurrence from our partner at Forest Preserve District of Cook County. That field order has been issued, and we're confident that our contractor, Alpha, will get that work done this coming second quarter of this year. Any questions on those two field orders?
Is that in time for when they open?
Yeah, well, that's what we're racing against, yes. So Alpha's a good contractor, minority company, competed for the work. And yes, that's our goal. We understand the restrictions around some of the seasonal events that are coming up. But it's a good investment. It corrects the deficiency,
Yeah.
which is partially why we're there as well. Absolutely. Thank you. No other questions? Okay, moving on to the change order activity report. There are a total of 5 projects that I'm going to discuss with you today. The first one is a CPS project, the Kenwood Academy Lincoln Mechanical Project, for a total change order amount of $51,550.45. There are 2 separate items as part of that change. The first has to do with a previous field order that we presented for authorization for signage work that was required that was not included in the contract document, specifically around the parking lots. That change in itself is $12,928.02. The second change order as part of that package is for new infrastructure and sewer connections that we also presented here for field order issuance that should have been identified by way of televising through CPS's architect. That change order now, the full negotiated value is $38,622.43. The sum of those 2 values are the $51,550.45. We do have our client's concurrence regarding this change order or these change orders for the Kenwood project. Any questions about Kenwood? Okay. The next project is the Det Elementary School Annex and Renovation Project. This is part of our closeout change order to deduct the commission's unused contingency in the credit amount of $208,693.18. The commission's contract contingency included in the bid form was $860,000. This is the balance of what was not used. We do have CPS's concurrence on that as well. The next project is the next three projects are CDOT related projects. The first one for that is the WPA East 109th Street, South Hoyne Avenue, South Harding Avenue, and East 102nd Street. And that is to deduct the unused allowance amount of $100,000 and then to deduct the commission's contingency amount for all the locations in the amount of $733,000 for a total sum credit amount of $833,000. Happy to report that these projects achieved substantial completion last September. The next project is also CDOT project. This is related to the various alleys, or as we call it, package 3, all locations. These are reconciled schedule of prices amounts. The total amount is a credit amount. However, through that reconciliation process by location, for example, at Westbury Avenue, the difference was in CDOT's favor in terms of the amount that was reconciled, the estimated value versus actual value. The actual value was less than the engineer records estimated value. Same thing for Drummond, Belden, Arthur, Berteau, whereas those values were in favor of our client by way of our measurement and verifications of the actual quantities. The one project that did exceed slightly was the Hortense Avenue project by a amount of $4,400 approximately, but the total difference, net difference, is the credit that comes back at $153,498.28. So the schedule of prices model does work for us. Our contractors seem to appreciate it, and our staff working with CDOT's partnership allows us to successfully deliver these alley projects as planned last year. Okay, the last project is another WPA project for South Central Park Avenue and East 91st Street. Happy to report that these projects were completed in 2024. We are catching up administratively related to this closeout change that reconciles the schedule of prices for both locations at a final credit amount of $408,971.53, plus a credit amount for deducting the unused commission contingencies at a credit amount of $168,791.11 for a total credit amount of $577,762.64. Our big push now is the administrator to close these projects out, reconcile all of the quantities, process all the closeout change orders so that we can help our client budget properly for this year's work. Any questions regarding the change order report?
Are there additional WPA projects, street reconstruction projects coming our way?
So in a year and a half ago, we had met with our partners at CDOT regarding their 2026 program. We've got scheduled meetings with them in March to determine whether or not that bundling of those projects are the same quantity or different. So there are budget considerations and schedule considerations. So hopefully, happily, I will report later this month that we've met to be able to at least update you on the WPA program and the new alley program. So we're working with them on that, but part of this closeout has to do with their planning as well. So we're looking forward to it. We think it's a great investment. Our Dawson Tech scholars are working on those projects along with our staff and our contractors and all of the aldermen and community that are engaged with us on these projects. So yes, we are actively working with them on their plans. Sure. If there are no questions, I can move on to our regular reports. I appreciate that. So just a brief update to share since the last time we met. On January 28th, we hosted a project update meeting with 16 Ward Alderman Stephanie Coleman and our partners at City Colleges and the design build team that we had selected previously for that new Kennedy King Nursing Project program. If you remember, at 63rd and Halsted, existing library space, second floor is being converted into a nursing program. Happy to report that by way of our student hiring initiative, our design builder has hired a Dawson Tech graduate Dawson Tech to be graduate that also happens to be part of Chicago Bills program. His start date is March 16th, 2025. He graduated high school from Gwendolyn Brooks. So we're excited to bring another Chicago Build / Dawson Tech Scholar to our program. Then on January 29th, as we continue to collaborate with our partners at the Department of Water and the 45th Alderman James Gardner, we hosted a pre-submission conference for design build services for that project. The operations facility is located at 4825 West Lawrence Avenue. And these pre-submission conferences are intended to provide perspective and information to anyone that's actively looking to partner or pursue the project. We did have approximately 80 or so attendees. Since then, and we'll report this at a later time, but since then, we've received multiple responses to that procurement, which means a couple of things: that Department of Water, PBC worked collaboratively to prepare a package that's informative, thanks to James and Patty for that RFP that went out. So in the coming months, we'll be reporting on where we are with that. On February 25th, our team celebrated the 100th anniversary of Black History Month by joining together for an inspirational presentation from a performance artist, a professional poet and writer, Ngochi, who read a passage from her latest book and performed a traditional Nigerian song. Special thank you to all of our staff for helping us with that, specifically Patrice Doyle and Bryant Payne and Janice for helping us put that together. It was very well received, very nice. Then on March 4th, we attended, last night actually, we attended the annual membership awards gala to support our one of our assist agency, the African American Contractors Association, at the South Shore Cultural Center. We continue to partner with all of our assist agencies, so we appreciate being invited to that. ACA has been a good partner. They're becoming more and more engaged with our work and making their membership aware of opportunities as well. So we do appreciate that from them. And then you'll be receiving something from me by email, but on May 14th, coming up this year, it'll be our annual connection session at the Malcolm X College. I know you attended, did you attend last year? Yeah, so so our inaugural was in 2023 or 2024. We had a follow-up in 2025, had 100 people in 2024, about 300 people in 2025. We're expecting upwards of about 500 attendees for this year. Provide program updates regarding everything we're doing. We've invited all of our assist agencies, Dawson Tech Institute, and CPS with students are coming, up to 100 students for now. We'll see if that increases later. So we're really looking forward to that. I think we've learned a lot since the first time, and those that do attend appreciate all of the presentation material, having access to PBC's leadership, and most importantly, that partnership and networking has proven to be beneficial to us because we are seeing some of that in part responses to these RFPs, but also our contractors that are bidding the CDOT work are able to identify and meet other vendors and suppliers that happen to be currently certified M&WBE vendors, suppliers, and subs, along with the Carpenters Union that is always there willing to talk to every single student without fail. So I appreciate that partnership as well. That concludes my report for today, unless there are any questions.
Move to accept the reports.
Reports accepted.